What up? I have a list today because I want to make sure I get all the points across, and obviously I'm walking today as well, walking video. So let's get started. During these situations or scenarios we have with these people who have this demonic possession, who have this mental illnesses or inclination to hurt people, to steal life force energy, to gain some kind of advantage, we ask ourselves, or in fact we actually blame ourselves for a lot of what happened to us, and we ask the question to ourselves, why has this happened? Why did this person select me? So during this, it's a setup. You're being worked. They're working the number over you. During this, your setup, you will be profiled and you'll be tested. So these people, they're like sharks in water. They're constantly looking. They're gauging. If you work out somewhere, if you're on a sports team, if you frequent the gym, if you just take slow breaths and look around, you will see there are people that are not really focused on doing their workouts. They're looking around. They're looking who they can get attention to. They're looking who they can get eye contact with. They're looking who they can cause trouble with, where they can upset people by bumping into them, by going to the equipment where someone's there when there's lots of empty equipments that they could go to, they won't go to. They are constantly on the lookout for attention. That's why we call them energy vampires. Now, if you look back in over, your sort of time where you had these scenarios, you will see there was events or moments where you kind of double guessed. You like, oh, that was a bit strange, or that happened. I don't quite feel comfortable with it, with what's happening. Usually that's you in real time, or your body telling you that someone is testing you, your intuition, your sixth sense, your spider sense. So let's start with the list. The first one I got here is asking invasive questions. Now with these destiny swappers, destiny blockers, because by being around these people, I can guarantee you will not fulfill your life purpose. You will not reach your highest potential, your highest goals. It will not happen. They will ask you questions that you don't quite feel comfortable giving them the answer to. It might be, say somebody might ask you about maybe how much your salary is, or just a question that is quite intimate. They will ask you, and your first inclination would be kind of a pullback vibration, but you might they might make you feel, oh, it's not a big deal, you don't have to tell me, blah blah blah. But they're just tricking you to get that information for you. They might ask you just something intimate, some kind of, might be about your preferences, sexual things that you like, or just information that only someone really close to you would know. Maybe about your flat. Do you own your flat? Do you rent? How much is your rent? How much is your mortgage? Just a question that is a personal question. Where do you go to buy something? Where do you meet certain people? Where do you buy, I don't know, whatever's personal to you, if it's music, or where do you buy your nice records from? Where do you buy your skincare from? Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter what the topic is. With something that only you know, they want to know that information. That's number one. Number two, slyly invading your personal space. Now, the key here is slyly. These characters, you might be in a shop and they're acting like they're trying to take something from next to you, or or in the gym, you're next to the lockers and their clothes is next to your locker, or they're trying to get to put the mat back or try to use a machine, and they walk past you so close that they've actually interrupted your energetic field. So everybody, there's like a space that is very, very personal to all of us. And as I don't know if they call it ojas, aura, these sort of things. It's very Indian language, aura or shak. There's a sort of an energetic field around our bodies. And if you come very, very close to someone, you interrupt it. And then what happens is that we're sharing the air, we're sharing the space, we're sharing that energy. And this happens with these characters. They will walk past you, or they will stand next to you in a space. There was a time when I was working a job. It was a night job. We were there, electricians. We were working the night. I think it was in a school, and the school was for young kids, and the company didn't want us to do have all these kind of legal clearance checks. So we had to work when there were no children. So we had to work at night, upgrading their lighting system or whatever it was. I think it was at the time. And there was this electrician that we got into this lift. It was quite a big lift. And this man, I tell you not, he stood in front of me, and he slowly started to move back. So he came into, it was almost as if he was in my lap. And I noticed it, but because we kind of were friends, we got on kind of fakely. I didn't think anything of it at the time. And as I think you will know, that relationship ended with big arguments, him disrespecting me, everything that I told him, it was shared with the whole group, laughing, mocking, rejecting me, all that kind of stuff happened, shouting at me in a way that you don't even know me to be talking to me like that. That's one of them. I just remembered another scenario of this where I was on this music tour, and on the music tour, I would say there was a sound engineer that was there, and we were sat in this in a van, and the van was quite full, and he was kind of leaning on me. Like at one point he was kind of leaning on me, and then he kind of was like, oh, hold on, that's your space. So he moved, but then as the trip continued, he slowly carried on leaning, putting his weight onto me. And at this point, you're supposed to like shrug the person, like, can you get off me, or can you move? Like, this is my seat. But I kind of just was just there, and he was just leaning on me. And in the end, what happened is that he gave my information to certain labels about me. He asked me for information about certain contacts so he could cut me out of the deal, and then he'd go around me and send them my masters, and they made money from my music without me being included. But at first he had to test to see how much I would allow him to get away with. By the way, this stuff that we go through is something that we've been trained to do. We've been trained to be supplied for narcs, usually your parent. There's a narcissistic parent somewhere where you've been trained to, be afraid to stand up for yourself. You're afraid to say no, you're a people pleaser. All these things you will defeat over time. You will sort of grow to respect yourself, respect your own personal boundaries, and fight for what's right and what's rightfully yours, your sovereignty, your gifts, everything that is for you. In fact, everything that's yours. The third one I got here is collecting data. And even when we talk of the invasive questions, they can go together. They're asking these personal questions to collect data on us, to find out personal things about us that they can use against us. In a work setting, I remember at one, and it was quite a weird question, one of my supervisors asked me if I was more practical or more book. It was a very strange question, because in what I do, you have to be well versed in practical and book. You have to understand the regulations, the 18th edition electrical regulation for the country that I'm in. You have to understand practical, you have to understand the procedures so nobody gets hurt, so there's no electric shock, so all your installation does what it's supposed to do. If there's a fault condition, it returns to the earth, and the thing, it trips. So you have to understand the book, you have to test, you have to inspect. And I remember saying book. From that moment on, I kid you not, this man kept me away from every practical that was sort of a new practical or new installation or new equipment or new something the client wanted, some sort of new gadget or some sort of new technique. This man kept me away from everything. He kept me in the warehouse, so I'll be just doing the same thing over and over, so I wouldn't learn anything. I wouldn't become useful, because we are useful. Empathic beings, we just by default are very useful. They use us for our energy, they use us for our talent, they squeeze every last bit of juice out of us to monetize us, and they expect us to just take it and not complain. And it's the same in, it's a universal thing. If you look at a lot of relationships, you will have an empath one and an empath who is allowing this energy vampire, to use them for their gifts, basically. So this is something we need to work on. We need to stamp out. We have to stop this from happening. It will take time. It will not happen overnight, but you'll become more confident in fighting them back. Yeah, sure, you got your holy water and your garlic. What's the next one I've got? Oh, the last one I got here is manipulation of time, or time. Testing, what they will use is your time will become, they will use it as a way to disrespect you. So lateness, if you're waiting for them, narcs, energy vampires, the first time you meet them, they might be on time, or they might be a bit late. The second time, they'll be a little bit late. The third time, they will be hours late. And what they're doing, they're slowly trying to figure out what you stand for. As soon as they're late a little bit, you have to put your foot down. You have to somehow punish them and say, oh, you were late here. Okay, this is a fine. I'm not standing for it. I want this back because you were late there. That means, I get a longer lunch. You've got to do the harder part of the work, or, whatever it may be. But they will use time to test us, to see how much we will accept. Just as a reminder, they want to make you feel the opposite of what they're projecting. You're the value, you're the person with the energy, you're the one with the gifts, you're the one that is useful, you're the one carrying the spirit of Jesus Christ, you're the one who is highly favored. So wherever you are, there will be good luck, things will work out for the better. Wherever they are is the opposite. And if you spend enough time with them, you swap places with them, they will start getting good luck, you will start getting bad luck. So that being said, that's it for this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.